Hello, externs. I am Jocelyn Palaja. If that last name is at all familiar to you, it could be that you have encountered my daughter Allegra, who's a senior at Carleton this year. She's a SOAN major, currently also considering an ed psych minor. She's going to petition to see if she can do that. So if you see her on campus, ask her how that's going. So I am talking to you right now on my back porch up here in Duluth, Minnesota, very near to one of the many stacks of shoes that are a constant feature in my life. I mean, those aren't all my shoes, those are family shoes, but we have another stack just as big a few feet down that are my husband's shoes. But if we're here to get to know each other, I will disclose I have shoe issues because I love them. I also love a good statement earring. Anyhow, please call me Jocelyn. You don't have to be formal with me. I'm very casual. I'm super excited that you're going to have this externship and we're going to have some time together in November/December. I'm really good at babbling for a long time on videos, I've discovered the hard way. So I'm going to try and be briefer than I often am. So please just call me Jocelyn. If you want to call me Mrs. Palaja, you can. But I mean, I like Jocelyn. Anyhow, I have been teaching college level writing and literature for, this is year 31. Can you believe it? I sure can't. And my first 5 years of teaching were in the four-year university system. I taught at University of Idaho and I taught at University of Colorado. And because I had a master's only and really had decided that the PhD did not interest me, I was kind of limited in how far I would ever go in a four-year system. So I decided at that point to return to Minnesota where I had friends and family, and I knew there's a really strong community college system, and I just papered the state with applications. Ended up getting hired at Riverland Community College down in Austin, Minnesota. That was a trip, and it was actually really good. But and then in 2001, I managed to score a job at Lake Superior College, which is here in Duluth, and I have been there ever since, and I will be, fingers crossed, there until I retire. And all along in my community college teaching career, I have regarded the work as a form of social justice, to be honest, because more so than a private liberal arts experience or a four-year experience, the community college, serves as a bridge for a lot of people into the idea of higher education. And it really is transformative. I mean, when it works, it's transformative in ways that are kind of heart-moving. So I have viewed it as a way to level out some of the issues in terms of, class and privilege that are ingrained into our country's systems. But I also have realized in the last few years more and more that I still have been rewarding privilege. And I have really started looking at the ways that higher education is a tool of white supremacy, and it is part of those systems that continue to boost and reward those who come in already privileged and continue to hold down those who enter without as much privilege. So I have been trying incrementally to make changes in my teaching, my attitudes, my expectations that neutralize privilege a bit, and that that overthrow what we've always been doing. That maybe sounds more radical than it actually is on a daily basis. What have I been doing? Well, I've been changing assignments. I've been changing the kind of content I'm bringing in. So if I'm creating an activity on paraphrasing for my research writing class, I am now selecting passages that are more aimed at either raising issues of race, gender, ethnicity, whatever, or I am just choosing more authors of color than perhaps I did in the past. So I'm definitely working towards creating more equitable materials, but I am hoping through this externship that you can help me because I usually every semester have more than 100 students. I usually have 130, 150. And to be honest, once the semester's going, it's just like grading, prepping. And it's hard for me to do the kind of forward thinking or the kind of like, all right, let's let's completely try something new here. I mean, so bit by bit, I'll change an assignment here, an assignment there, and that does seem to be making a difference. But I would love your help for coming up with ideas and or creating more new materials and assignments that are aimed at allowing students of all abilities and backgrounds to succeed, instead of making it easy for some and making others fight to have any sort of success. So I'm open. I'm interested in the ideas, for example, of contract grading, labor-based grading versus traditional grading. I know a little bit about those, but I kind of lose my energy really quickly when I start looking at the ideas, because I start having concerns and questions. So if you're someone who's like, I would like to learn more about alternative forms of feedback and grading in an English class that boost equity, then you could help me that way. You could get educated. You could teach me. You could come up with some sort of plan that I could potentially implement in the future. So what I want to say, look at me, I'm already blathering for way too long. What I really want to say is, for this externship, I want you to get out of it what you want to get out of it. I'm super loose about how you approach the externship. Last year, in the height of the pandemic, I had 6 externs, because I was like, to the Career Center, I was like, send me anyone who wants an externship, because I felt so much for young people who are like, you're trying to gain experiences, you're trying to get stuff to put on your resume, let's be honest. So for this externship, if you have a particular talent or area of interest, just tell me, and let's figure out something you can do that capitalizes on those skills. I could always use videos, PowerPoints, those kinds. I could use those kinds of things that you could create that I could then put into my classes. I teach largely online. This semester I have 1 class on campus and the rest are online. If you could record a quick audio, something I could use. So, we can come up with an idea that capitalizes on what you are interested in doing and what you think your talents are. And also, I am totally open in terms of how long you want the externship to last. So a minimum of 1 week, but if you want 3 weeks, if you're kind of like, I'm going to be sitting at home for 6 weeks over break, going a little crazy, I need a reason to hide in my room so I don't have to interact. Please, let's come up with lots of stuff for you to do so that you have to go do externship work and get yourself a break. But if you have a quick week and you're like, I just kind of want to put a handful of hours into this, call it good, hey, that's fine by me, no problem. Last year with the 6 externs, I had about half of them did the full 3 weeks. One of them did a week and a couple of them did 2 weeks, I think. So we will talk more, I am hoping, through a Zoom meeting. I'm looking at Monday, November 29th. So that's the Monday after Thanksgiving. If we could meet, there are 3 of you, by the way, who have accepted the externship this year. If we could meet through a Zoom meeting at a time that works for all of us, then we could kind of like cobble together a plan, okay? And I will be sending you a follow-up email at some point in the next little while, week, I don't know. I started a document last night just typing out ideas, so I can send you that document. It will continue to evolve. We can talk about the document during the Zoom meeting, but I also kind of want to send you a fun assignment. It's an assignment that I kind of randomly was like, oh, this would be a great like icebreaker introduction activity in some of my classes. And now I've used it, I think 3 times, and every time it has been such a success. And it's been a success for everyone in the room. And it's also been a success in terms of bringing together everyone in the room to a feeling of shared humanity and commonalities, which is ideally what we would like from all assignments, right? I would like to come up with more ideas for assignments that make everyone in the room feel like their contribution is as valid as and connects with, the others. So I think I will send you this activity and ask you to do it before we meet for the first time. I promise you it's fun. I promise you it's not laborious. It's not going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to listen to like 2 5-minute podcast episodes, and you're going to have to do, well, here, I'll just tell you because you're going to be wondering, right? There's a podcast called 10 Things That Scare Me, and it's actually not being produced anymore, but there's a good archive of it. And it's either common people or famous people, and they just go through the list of things that scare them. And for a couple of the items on their list, they elaborate. So I'm going to ask you, before we meet for the first time, to come up with your list of 10 things that scare you. It doesn't have to be like awful digging deep. Like, I'm not asking you to reveal things you don't want to reveal. I will tell you one thing that's always on my list. Here's a thing that scares me. I hate being on the highway going 80 miles an hour and surrounded by semi trucks. I hate having the trucks in the lane right next to me. I hate passing a semi truck. The whole time I'm like sweaty palmed on the steering wheel, like, ah! So that would be something always on my list of 10 things that scare me. Passing semis and being like boxed in by semis, or even just having one next to me. So, you can go as deep or not as you want on your list. And so I will send you, when I send you a follow-up email, to which I will attach my brainstormed document. I'll also give you just a few, I'll link to the podcast and maybe give you a couple examples of what students have done. I just think it'd be a nice way for us to kind of all get to know each other in the first Zoom meeting. And since there's only going to be 4 of us in the room, and I don't know if the 3 of you know each other at all. So, so here's what I'm asking before I stop this nonsense. Could you reply to my email? Let me know where you will be physically on the planet during break, so we can figure out time zones. Last year we had someone in India, and she was 11 and a half hours different. So even if we met at 11 a.m., it was, like close to midnight for her. So she was kind of yawning through some things, but she was a champ. I will tell you straight up, heads up, I'm not a morning person. I'm not. But I am an evening person, no problem, and I'm an afternoon person. So I'm hoping we can find a common time where we could, have an hour Zoom or however long it takes to just kind of like talk about what you are interested in, talk about some of the issues surrounding the teaching, talk more about community colleges. Hey, did you know, by the way, that 46% of undergraduates in the United States are attending community colleges? And did you know that more than half of those students are people of color? And about half of those students are not traditional college age. They are over the age of 24. 2 years ago, I had an 80-year-old in my creative nonfiction class, and that was fun. The oldest student I've ever had was 88. He was a retired minister, and he had stories. Okay, I'm going to stop. So please, if you can hit reply, tell me anything about yourself that you want to, by the way. Let's get chatty. And let me know, if November 29th, that Monday, will work for you as far as you know right now. And, if there's certain times that things don't work, we can pin it down more later. But I just kind of want to get a sense of, kind of where we're all going to be and how this is going to work. So tell me anything you want to tell me. I'd love to hear from you anytime. And I will send you a follow-up email in the next week or 2, and always ask any questions. Okay, good. I'm excited. So see you soon again.